I'm so humbled that they thought of me to do this. I couldn't believe Sean, of course, with his sense of humor, he calls me up and he says, I don't guess that you'd be able to be in Kansas City on April the 26th. And I said, well, what for? Well, we've decided to give you our freedom. And I just almost broke into tears because I don't know that I deserve it. I mean, there's a lot of people that do just as much or more than I do. And so it's just a tremendous honor. I've always wished that I was independently wealthy and I could just, hire a staff and do nothing but this and not worry about getting paid. But being small like I am, I have to find ways to keep the doors open. I know that criminal defense lawyers are traditionally kind of accused of being slick characters and, bending the rules and all that stuff. Well, what I've seen in my 38 years of doing this is there's quite a bit more of that going on the other side. One of my sort of mentors, who had been an FBI agent and a prosecutor, and then went into private practice, always referred to the competitive business of law enforcement. And so you have police officers who, and I'm not saying, I do believe that the vast majority of them are honest and sincere and hardworking people who want the best, but the profession attracts a certain type who are without consciences and are concerned about their own advancement, the competitive business of law enforcement. I want to get this felony collar. I want to get that promotion to sergeant. I want to get to the homicide bureau. So that's always to be guarded against. I mean, it happened a lot that we would see cases where everybody in the room knew that this police officer was lying. And everybody in the room knew that the prosecutor was covering up for him. Not every prosecutor was like that. Most of them, again, are honest, sincere people, but there's enough of it going on that it's a problem. One of the judges in the Ninth Circuit a couple of years ago came out with a dissenting opinion, and the first thing he says right out of the box in his opinion is, there is an epidemic of Brady violations in the land, and only courts can put a stop to it. And by Brady violations, that's law enforcement hiding evidence favorable to the defendant. I always heard that phrase thrown around when I was in law school: don't get emotionally involved in your clients' lives and their cases, and I've just disregarded that ever since I started practicing law. It's impossible. And if you're able to do that, it's really hard in tough cases to keep yourself motivated. I don't think I've ever told anybody about this, but one of the things that's helped to give me empathy is that when I was 18 years old in Tennessee, I was wrongfully arrested. And I'll never forget how fortunate I was to have a compassionate young attorney who was willing to go to bat for me and ended up getting the cases thrown out on basically the misconduct of the arresting officers. And that made a lifelong impression on me. And so I know from personal experience what some of these people feel and what they're going through when they're sitting there with a heavyweight charge sitting over them and no way to see themselves out of it without a lot of help. So I never tried to shut off those feelings from my clients. It's just impossible for me to be otherwise.